Boxing Wales and IFL TV with Nathan Cleverly. Nath, your comeback fight next Saturday. I know every boxer tells us preparation's been going great, and it's a bit of a redundant question to say how's training been, but how has it been for you, because you've had so much change with the move up in weight division?
Yeah, good. And I'm in a good place mentally as well. You know, it's I think that's the most important thing for me, really. You know, physically I've always been physically fit, but you know, it's the mental state of mind, and I'm in a good place. You know, I've trained well, which helps. You know, because if you've trained well, then mentally you're in a good place. And just the whole thing around it. You know, I feel happy with the situation in terms of promotional wise, where I'm fighting, who I'm fighting. I've got everything sorted now. You know, I've got a direction. I've got a few fights set out for me, and that helps. You know, that mentally helps, because I just know where I'm going. I know what I've got to prepare for. I've got a date in mind. I can prepare for that date properly. You know, and that makes hell of a difference. And you know, as I said, overall, it's been a good training camp.
You touched on like the mental side of things. When we sat on this sofa after your last fight, a loss to Sergey Kovalev, mentally you were very matter of fact about it at the time, but you seemed to, I wouldn't say get over it, because you know it was your first defeat and everything, but you seemed to have refocused, so to speak. And what was it that attracted you back to boxing? Because you didn't know at one point whether you would be boxing again.
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of having a break. You know, just getting away from boxing for a bit. You know, because after a long training camp and the fight and the whole hype of the fight, doing the media stuff, the training, the whole bravado that surrounds a fight, you know, it takes its toll. It takes its toll on you, and not only physically but mentally, I would say, more or less. It's, you know, it can be quite strenuous. I just wanted to get away from that, you know, have a break. I went on holidays, just chilled, and you know, just enjoyed myself. And I was just waiting for that day. Then I was waiting for that day where, you know, I had that buzz again for boxing. You know, a bit like that Rocky feeling. You know, where at one moment you're up the top, and then the next moment you're back down to basics, and it's sometimes that's good. I think you need that sometimes, just to come back down and start again. And because the journey on the way up it can be an exciting journey, you know. And I'm starting again now, so I'm quite excited by it.
You've been out of the ring for 9 months, so I imagine your training camp for the next fight has been quite a strenuous, well, not strenuous, quite a long one.
Yeah, it has. It's been quite a long one, but it's helped me in a way, because it's been 9 months now since I've been out of the ring, and I think I needed that time to just bit by bit get into the cruiserweight division, and you know, I'm doing the weight properly, not rushing it. So I'm steadily becoming a good cruiserweight. So I needed that time to prepare for that, and I've been taking over for a long time now. You know, in that 9 months, I've been keeping fit, keeping in shape. So it's been a long training camp, but I've made sure I haven't overcooked it either, and you know, and burnt myself out.
I know you've been up and down the country sparring different places. Who have you sparred with for this fight?
Yeah, I've had some good sparring. I've sparred some bigger guys. You know, I've been down Adam Booth's gym, done a bit with Mike Perez, Dillian White, and then back here, in the Midlands actually, you know, I've gone up to spar with Chris Keane, who's you know, a cruiserweight fighter. So I've just been mixing in with these guys. There's a few local guys I've been sparring with as well. So yeah, just getting used to that weight, you know, getting used to the big strong guys. Just adapting to it, and this yeah, I feel I belong there.
There's a massive gap in weight from light heavyweight to the cruiserweight limit, which is 25 pounds. Normally when fighters move up, they have to put on weight. Have you found that's the case, or have you actually had to bring your weight down?
I've had to put on a little bit of weight, it's no doubt, because the gap is so big between light heavy and cruiser. I've had to put on a bit of weight. They'll eventually get a stage or become a stage where I'll have to lose weight to make the cruiserweight limit, because I'm pretty much there now. I'm on the limit, just being as I am.
Do you expect to come in at 14 stone 4 or thereabouts?
Yeah, I think I'll be on the limit. I think I'll be on the cruiserweight limit. So, and I'll have to be careful. I'll just have to make sure the last couple of days I don't, maybe overeat or over carbo load, because I've still got to keep tabs on the scales. I've still got to make the 14 stone 4 limit. So, but it should be okay.
Given that when you were light heavyweight champion, you mentioned at one point the fight with Carl Froch. So when you announced you were going to cruiserweight, a lot of people thought it was like a knee-jerk reaction. But can you just tell us about the process of making light heavyweight for the last 7 years?
Yeah, well, when I was light heavyweight champion, world champion, then at that point, I remember mentioning the Carl Froch fight at super middleweight, or maybe a catchweight, because I knew if there was any time I was going to make that fight to happen,
sooner rather than later.
It would have to be sooner rather than later, and I was prepared to do it for the magnitude of the fight. I think it would have been a massive fight, so I was prepared to come down to a catchweight for that fight. I would have sacrificed a lot of weight and maybe a bit of muscle tissue, but as I said, for the magnitude of the fight, I would have prepared to do it. I possibly could have made super middleweight, but it probably would have been...
That'd cut your legs off.
It would have been detrimental to my performance in a big way, but as I said, because of the scale of the fight potentially, I would have done it last gasp saloon, just to get down to that weight, because I knew in the future I got to move up. This is my 6th weight division since I've been professional. I turned professional at 18, started at welterweight. I've been a light middleweight, a middleweight, super middle, light heavy, and now cruiserweight. Do
you think it's because you're still growing?
Still growing, for sure, yeah. Still growing, still developing, still finding that man strength. I just turned 27, so there's still a few more years of growth, I would say. So still a bit more weight to add on to me. So yes, that's just my body and nature taking its toll, so.
I know on the fight week for your last fight, we were at the Wales Republic of Ireland game. It was the Wednesday before the fight on the Saturday, or the weigh-in on the Friday. You were not well. I saw the signs, but I couldn't quite put it all together. But you couldn't eat on that day at all. So with the last week, it seemed you were really feeling the pinch then.
Yeah, towards the end, I had to be very careful what I had. Fluids, carbs, just had to keep close tabs on it, and naturally that's going to deplete energy levels. And I started feeling it towards the end. I just making the weight on the scales is okay. I never failed to make the weight, 12 stone 7 limit. I could make that, but just having the energy to perform at that weight then continuously. I was that weight for 6 years, since I was 20 years of age, and in that time I've grown. I've added a bit of muscle density. So as I said,
just one of those things.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I just outgrew the weight in the end, I think.
Nathan, at the same time with the weight, you didn't really want to use it as an excuse, because you'd won fights when you'd made that weight.
Yeah, I said that. People say, why didn't I move up earlier? But the reason why I didn't move up earlier is because I kept winning. I kept winning and I was world champion, so why would I want to give away my world title? And
obviously it's less pay, you'd have to build up and it'd be less pay as well.
Yeah, why would I give away my world title? I was earning better money as a world champion. I was still winning, so I thought there was no trigger point for me to move up. Even though I felt I wasn't 100%, I kept winning. So the trigger point was the loss, and I think that had to happen for me to make this decision, because I just think it was harming my performance.
I know fighters don't necessarily like to talk about the politics thing, but people are interested in it now, and you say social media you know, everyone kind of is more involved. You've obviously changed promoters. Can you tell us about the decision to make that change?
Yeah, I thought long and hard about it. I thought long and hard about the decision. I spoke with Eddie, and you know, he put a good proposal in front of me. You know, and obviously we got Sky backing. There was a massive broadcaster, and I've worked with Sky before. You know, I know all the guys there.
It's where you produced probably the best form of your career.
Yeah, and when I think back, that, you know, Sky was the guys who pretty much helped me get where I am. You know, all my fights, my Commonwealth fight, British title fights, European, and world title fight was shown on Sky. So they helped get me to where I was, and you know, I had a couple of years away because I was contracted with Frank Warren. You know, and I've got no vendetta against Frank Warren. It worked great. You know, it was. I've got no regrets with my boxing career. Chapter 1 was fantastic. But here we are now. It's a fresh start for me. It's a new start. Chapter 2, and I want to get it right now. You know, it's time to get serious and really push as far as I can go in terms of promotional wise, TV wise, fights, exposure. And I believe Eddie at Matchroom, and in conjunction with Sky Sports, I think, and myself performing and winning and looking good, I think this could be a real good chapter for me.
Being with Eddie, he seems to have a 3-fight plan for you. Is that the case?
Yeah, he's put a proposal in front of me. So we're basically looking at 2 fights, two kind of warm up fights in the Cruiserweight division, and then potentially, you know, provided we both keep winning, you know, it's likely that myself and Tony Belland are gonna fight again.
Oh well, we'll leave the Tony Bellew stuff for another day, because you know, you've got to fight next Saturday. Fighting Sean Corbin, he's one of the usual suspects. He wins the fights he's supposed to win, and when he's fought good guys, it's a fact he's been stopped. Do you feel any pressure to get a stoppage next week?
Yeah, I suppose so. You know, I'd like to get a stoppage now next week against Corbin. I think he's lost 4 times. He's won 17, lost 4, but each of his losses he's been stopped. So you know, I've got to be realistic, and I think I want to get a stoppage against this guy. You know, without really trying to force it. I like to just, you know, concentrate on performing and looking good, and then going for the kill then and getting this guy, you know, and stopping this guy. That would be a perfect start for me. Because
the nature of the division, because the men are so much bigger than what you were fighting at light heavyweight, you're going to have to change your tactics or your approach to the fight at all? A little bit, a slight change of tactic. Maybe just ease back a bit, slow down a little bit. You know, not be so rapid with the punches and maybe not throw as many as well. You know, I've got a large punch output. Maybe just ease back, slightly take the snap off the shot, the speed off the shot, and make it more of a solid shot. So I've been practicing that in the gym and experimenting with different punches and sparring. So I'm pretty sure, you know, I've got a game plan in mind. The training you've been doing has been with Darren Wilson. You were previously with your father, Vince. Can you tell us about the transition from trainer as well? Again, I just felt there was a need for a change. Freshen things up. Sometimes you get stale, and I think that was the situation. You know, I trained with my dad for 6 years. That was great as well. You know, we had a great journey, winning those titles. I was living the dream. You know, I was winning and enjoying life and, you know, winning the titles and in the sport that, you know, I wanted to be championing. And the training was good, but towards the end I just felt in the gym I was getting a little bit stale, mentally a little bit bored of it. I just wanted to change things up, and Darren, who we've been working with as well on a strength and conditioning basis, he lives, you know, not too far down the road. He was up for working with me, and
I enjoy it as well. You know, I enjoy the training with Darren, so I think that's important. I think it can work.
You had a brief stint at Adam Booth, but am I right in thinking that was just like because of the practical side of it? That's why that didn't work out.
Yeah, Adam very knowledgeable. You know, smart trainer, good setup down in London, real good setup. But it was just the fact that I was based in London. I just couldn't quite come to terms with, you know, this is my home. Everything's in place. It's you know, my running routes. My mum lives just up the road, so I can always pop up for good dinners. It's just good because it's all year for me. So I think this is my training camp, and that was why I came back.
Going back to the fight next week, when you were previously with Frank Warren, it did seem like there was a lot of pressure on you for big shows to be in Wales. You had to carry on winning.
Yeah.
With the next one on next week, there's Lee Sell being a world title eliminator, and it feels like the burden's a bit more, you know, it's shared between you.
Yeah, I think that's the case. You know, when I was kind of spearheading the Welsh boxing revival, really, and you know, saying that, I didn't mind that. You know, I kind of enjoy that pressure because I want to be the best I can be in this sport. I want to be at the top, and if you're going to be at the top, then it comes with pressure and expectation, and I'm prepared for that. You know, I expect that. I enjoy it. But at the same time, it's nice to have a little release valve as well. And I think the Selby fighting world title eliminator and the other guys, that does take a bit of pressure off. You know, it does take a bit of pressure off, and I think that helps a bit as well. You know, I think I can relax a little bit more, and just enjoy it a bit more.
No Welshman has ever won world titles or official world titles in 2 weight divisions. I imagine that's something you want to achieve as well.
Yeah, most definite, and it's realistic as well. I think it's very possible it can happen. You know, it's long. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of things can happen now. In the meantime, I've got to keep winning, looking good. I've got to earn my shot again, earn my shot at the world title. But I'm prepared to do that. And if at the end of the line, you know, I make history, then that would be phenomenal.
The fight next Saturday is for the WBA Intercontinental title. Is that the route you're going to pursue? Because their title's vacant now with Lebedev and Jones not fighting last week.
To be honest, I've not really thought about which route I'm going to go. Whatever opportunity comes up, I think that's the most important thing. As long as the opportunity is there, with whatever champion, whichever world governing body, I'm going to grab it with both hands, and I believe once I'm granted that opportunity, there's no way I'll fail to take it.
What do you make of the current world champions? There's obviously Marco Huck, WBO, Hernandez, the IBF, and Wolodyak. Excuse my pronunciation. Him. He's WBC champion. They don't seem spectacular, but they're all solid fighters.
Yeah, good fighters, all strong, solid cruiserweights. You know, they do nothing spectacular, none of them really, but they're all top class fighters, real good quality. And you know, that's the target. Those guys are the target. I'm bit by bit going to work towards them. You know, get this guy sorted next week, the one after that, and then, you know, it won't be too long before we you know, provided I keep winning, we're going to be knocking on the door for one of those guys, one of those world title shots. And when I get that opportunity, I will make sure I grab it.
With these 2 warm-up fights, if for the third fight is supposed to be Tony Bellew, if you were offered a world title fight, which would you go for? World title?
It all depends, you know, taking into account financially as well. You know, it might be a case of I get more money for the Bellew fight, and it's an easier fight than say a Mark or Huck or one of those fighters. So that would make sense then. So yeah, I think just we'll see how the situation is when it comes to it. See where the money is, and we'll take it from there then.
Happy days. Well, cheers for your time today. Wish you the best of luck next week. We'll obviously be there, and well, we'll catch up then too.
Make sure. Cheers there.